All right, so today let's dive into something that affects millions all around the globe, Alzheimer's disease. And before you think, oh no, not another heavy topic, I get it, but stick with us. Today we're going to be looking at some cutting edge research and practical advice that connects this disease with something we all do, sleep.
Yeah, it's a surprising link for sure, and one that has the potential to really empower you and kind of taking control of your brain health.
Exactly. Over 50 million people worldwide are living with Alzheimer's right now, and that number is projected to triple by 2050.
Yeah.
It can feel overwhelming, but knowledge really is power, and that's what we're aiming for in this deep dive today. We're going to explore a surprising connection between sleep, this hormone called melatonin, and the potential to actually reduce your risk.
There's this common misconception that poor sleep is just a natural part of aging, but it's actually a major risk factor for Alzheimer's.
That's something I bet a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, it's true. During sleep, our brains are hard at work clearing out harmful amyloid beta plaques, which is a hallmark of Alzheimer's.
So it's like our brains are doing a deep clean while we're sleeping.
Exactly. And if we don't get enough quality sleep, that cleaning process can't happen efficiently. Imagine your brain as a complex machine that needs regular maintenance. Sleep is like running a cleaning cycle, removing harmful buildup that could impair its function over time.
Okay, that makes sense. So where does melatonin fit into all of this?
Well, melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, but it's so much more than that. It's actually a powerful antioxidant that protects our brains from damage.
It's like a nighttime guardian for our brains.
Precisely. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Melatonin levels naturally decrease as we age, which may explain why Alzheimer's risk increases as we get older.
That's fascinating. So it sounds like melatonin plays a much bigger role in our brain health than most people realize.
Absolutely. And when we look at how melatonin specifically impacts Alzheimer's disease, it's actually working on two different levels.
Oh, I'm curious. How so?
Well, on one hand, melatonin actually reduces the production of those harmful amyloid beta proteins that we talked about. And on the other hand, it helps prevent the formation of something called tau tangles, another culprit in Alzheimer's.
Wow, so it's attacking the problem from two different angles.
Exactly. You have these amazing cells in your brain called astrocytes. Think of them like tiny garbage collectors. Melatonin actually helps them do their job better, clearing out the harmful debris that can contribute to Alzheimer's.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how important this is, but what causes these tau tangles to form in the first place?
Essentially, it's a process called hyperphosphorylation. Think of it like this. When tau protein gets overly tagged with phosphate molecules, it becomes sticky and starts clumping together, forming those tangles.
So melatonin prevents those phosphate tags from piling up on the tau protein.
Precisely. It helps keep the tau protein from becoming hyperphosphorylated, which in turn prevents those tangles from forming. It's a bit complex, but the takeaway is that melatonin is actively protecting your brain on multiple fronts.
This is all incredibly fascinating. It really highlights how interconnected things are in our bodies and how something as simple as getting enough sleep can have a profound impact on our brain health.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we often underestimate the power of our natural processes and how optimizing them can have far-reaching benefits.
Speaking of optimization, you mentioned earlier that our brains are like complex machines that need regular maintenance. What are some other factors that can affect our brain health as we age?
That's a great question. It's not just about the amount of sleep we get, but also the quality of our sleep. And this is where our circadian rhythms come into play.
Our internal clock. I've heard about that, but honestly, I haven't given it much thought. How do those rhythms affect our sleep quality and ultimately our brain health?
Well, your circadian rhythm is basically your body's internal 24-hour cycle that regulates a whole range of biological processes, including sleep, hormone production, and even cell regeneration. Melatonin plays a crucial role in keeping these rhythms in sync.
So when our circadian rhythms are out of whack, it throws everything off balance.
Precisely. And sadly, disrupted circadian rhythms are extremely common in people with Alzheimer's disease, and it actually worsens their condition.
That makes sense. It's like the conductor of an orchestra suddenly losing their rhythm, leading to a cacophony of sound instead of this harmonious symphony. So how can we ensure our circadian rhythms are working properly and that melatonin is doing its job?
There are a few key things you can do to maintain healthy circadian rhythms and optimize your melatonin production. And these are things you can start doing today.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are these magic tips for better sleep and brain health?
Well, one of the most effective ways to boost your natural melatonin production is to get at least 15 minutes of morning sunlight. This helps set your internal clock and optimize your melatonin rhythm.
So getting that morning sun is like sending a signal to our body saying, hey, it's daytime, time to wake up and get going.
Exactly. It's all about giving our body those clear signals to help regulate our internal clock. Now, on the flip side, it's crucial to minimize evening exposure to blue light, especially from electronics and LEDs.
Ugh, the dreaded blue light. I know I'm guilty of scrolling through my phone before bed.
Yeah, it's a common habit, but it can really wreak havoc on our sleep. That blue light tricks our brains into thinking it's still daytime, suppressing melatonin production.
So are we doomed to live in a tech-free cave after sunset?
Not at all. There are simple ways to mitigate the effects of blue light without giving up technology completely. You can try using blue blocking glasses or software, especially in the hours leading up to bedtime.
Those glasses, they do make you look a bit futuristic, but if they help me sleep better, maybe it's worth rocking the tech-savvy look.
And don't underestimate the power of a completely dark bedroom. Even a small amount of light can interfere with melatonin production.
Got it. Blackout curtains and an eye mask. I'm starting to feel like a sleep ninja.
Exactly. And one last tip, create a calm and relaxing bedroom environment. Stress can also disrupt melatonin production.
That makes sense. It's hard to fall asleep when your mind is racing, so things like meditation, a warm bath, or reading a book before bed can help wind things down.
Absolutely. Anything that helps you de-stress will contribute to better sleep and better brain health. This is all incredibly helpful, but I have to ask about melatonin supplements. Are they a good option for everyone?
That's a good question. While they can be helpful for some people, especially those with jet lag or shift work sleep disorder or certain other sleep disorders, it's crucial to talk to your healthcare provider before starting any supplement.
So it's not just a matter of popping a pill and calling it a day.
Right. While melatonin generally has a good safety profile, long-term use of high doses, we're talking more than 5-10 milligrams, can have some potential downsides. And here's another interesting fact. High doses of melatonin can draw out heavy metals from the body.
Wait, heavy metals, that doesn't sound good. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's something to be aware of. If they're considering high doses of melatonin long-term, it's wise to also incorporate detox practices, like using a sauna regularly, to help eliminate those heavy metals safely.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about taking melatonin, but also about making sure your body can process it effectively.
Exactly. A holistic approach is always best. Prioritizing sleep, managing stress, and optimizing your natural melatonin production through lifestyle choices should be the foundation. Supplements can play a role, but they shouldn't be a substitute for a healthy lifestyle.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the power of sleep and how crucial melatonin is for protecting our brains.
It's remarkable how interconnected our bodies are, and how something as simple as getting enough sleep can have such profound effects on our health, especially as we age.
I know I'll never take sleep for granted again. What about you? What stood out to you the most during this deep dive?
For me, it's the realization that melatonin is so much more than just a sleep aid. It's a potent antioxidant, an immune system booster, and a key player in maintaining the health of our brains.
Absolutely. It's like this hidden superpower we all have, and now we know how to harness it to our advantage. But I'm curious, what other everyday habits do you think we might be overlooking that could also protect our cognitive function as we age?
That's a fantastic question. We often focus on the big things like diet, exercise, and sleep, but there might be subtle yet significant lifestyle tweaks that can make a world of difference. Perhaps our next deep dive can explore some of those.
I love that idea. This is why I love these deep dives, that they always leave me with more questions than answers in the best way possible. It sparks curiosity and encourages us to keep learning and digging deeper.
It's like we've uncovered a treasure map, and now it's up to us to follow the clues and see where they lead.
Exactly. And who knows what other amazing discoveries are waiting to be made. It's both exciting and empowering to realize that we have more control over our brain health than we might think.
That's the beauty of knowledge. It gives us the power to make informed decisions and take proactive steps to protect our well-being.
So if you're listening to this, consider yourself officially empowered. We've armed you with some incredible insights about the connection between sleep, melatonin, and Alzheimer's disease.
And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to learn, and we encourage you to keep exploring this fascinating topic.
Share what you've learned with your friends and family. Let's start a conversation about brain health and empower each other to take charge of our cognitive well-being.
Because knowledge is power, and when it comes to our brains, that power is truly priceless.
Well said. And on that note, it's time for us to sign off. But before we do, we want to leave you with a challenge. We've talked about the importance of sleep, melatonin, and managing stress. What other everyday habits do you think might be impacting your brain health? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Until next time, keep those brains sharp and those curiosity levels high.
Stay curious, friends. You know what's crazy to me? It's just how much power something as simple as sleep has. It's something we do every single day, and it can have this huge impact on our long-term health, especially when we're talking about our brains.
Right, right. It really is remarkable how interconnected our bodies are. Like these seemingly small choices we make can actually ripple out and affect our well-being in a big way.
Absolutely. And this deep dive has really kind of opened my eyes to just how important melatonin is. I mean, who knew it was so much more than just a sleep aid, right?
Fascinating, yeah. It really is. And the more we learn about it, the more we realize how crucial it is,
Yeah.
especially as we age and for keeping our brains healthy.
We've covered so much in this episode. I mean, we talked about those amyloid beta plaques and tau tangles. We also got into circadian rhythms and even how melatonin can help with heavy metal detox. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that we have more control than we think, especially when it comes to keeping our brains healthy.
I totally agree. It's empowering, right? To know that we can do things every day to support our brain and maybe even reduce our risk of Alzheimer's.
Exactly. And yeah, there's still a lot to learn, but we know enough right now to make some good decisions.
So everyone listening, I want you to feel empowered. We've given you a ton of info about sleep, melatonin, and Alzheimer's disease. Now it's up to you to take that knowledge and do something with it.
Right. This is just the beginning. Keep learning, keep exploring, do your own research too, and talk to your doctor about what's right for you.
And you know what? Tell everyone. Share what you've learned with your friends and family. Let's get some good conversations going about how to keep our brains healthy.
I love it. Knowledge is power. And that's especially true when it comes to our brains.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, on that note, it's time to wrap things up. But before we go, one last thought for you. We've talked about sleep, melatonin, and managing stress. But what other habits do you think might be affecting your brain health? Think about it. What little changes can you make today to keep your brain sharp for years to come? Keep those brains sharp, everyone, and stay curious.
Until next time, stay curious, everyone.